population open in the swamp today. In the 1900s, though, that was a completely different story because there were actually hundreds of miles of tracks all throughout this place. The swamp is actually so much bigger than you would think it would be. The Okefenokee is actually the largest blackwater swamp in North America. We're so large that what you'll see here is only going to be about less than 1% of the entire Okefenokee. We're about 440,000 miles. And if you have a rough time, 440,000 miles. Excuse me, y'all. 440,000 acres. I apparently don't have my brain on right today. But if you have a rough time visualizing acreage, it's okay, I do too. That's about half the entire state of Rhode Island. We're so large that, again, what you'll see here is only going to be about less than 1% of the entire Okefenokee. And the habitat we got going on is one of 7. It's what a lot of people tend to associate a swamp with. It's called scrub shrub. But as you go over to Okefenokee Adventures in Folkestone, that's where open prairie land. And then Stephen C. Foster and Fargo is really interesting because it's almost like a mix of the two. It's not super closed in and woody like over here, but it's also not super open and watery like over at Folkestone. And in Fargo is where you'll see a lot more gators, a lot bigger ones, just because they do have those waters. A lot more food and habitat available to them out there. Here it maybe only gets about 3 to 5 feet deep on average, but over in Folkestone, it can get, Fargo. Y'all, I am losing my mind today. Over in Fargo, it gets about 6 to 10 feet deep. But now the other key to that title, of course, is Blackwater. You guys can see the water that we have over here. It does seem really, really deep and dark. Honestly, it's kind of an optical illusion. If you were to actually scoop it out, it'd be more the color of like apple juice or tea. And honestly, our water kind of is like tea. Now, the secret ingredient to this iconic tea we got going on is a thick layer of peat, and that's PAT. Pretty much all that is a layer of dead plant stuff and dead animal stuff that builds up way faster than it can break down. For all functional purposes, acts just like a tea bag. Because as it really slowly starts to decay, it'll release tannic acid, staining the water that color. Now, I mentioned peat in detail for a number of different reasons, but for the importance of this train tour, it's actually thanks to it we have an estimate of how old the swamp is, which is about 6,000 to 8,000 years old, which does seem like a pretty long time. But honestly, if you compare it to something like the Appalachian Mountains, which the oldest range there is about 1 billion years old, that's actually pretty young. Now, of all of those thousands and thousands of years, we only have about 5,000 years of recorded human history in the swamp. But the thing about archaeology, though, it's like to throw in there, is that just because it's what we know right now, that doesn't mean that there's still not a really cool discovery waiting to be made to push that date back even further.